My name is Jamie Milner. I am from Los Angeles, California. I'm a portrait photographer. I am obsessed with connection and the beauty of humanity, and I use my camera as a vehicle to share the connections that I have to other people. The project came about when I was in college. I was at USC. I had an internship at Disney, and they used me for reference for Disney's Princess Tiana. And, making a movie about a first Black Disney princess, but the prince wasn't Black. And it just kind of got me thinking about how our society can celebrate Black women, or comfortable with Black women, but still are sometimes very uncomfortable with Black men, especially having Black men in a hero role. And so it kind of made me reflect on the issues my brother had in school, the issues my dad had in business. And I was really like, wow, I'm palatable, but they're not. And I really want to create a body of work that reminded them of who they were, that showcased the beauty of Black men and really just show the humanity of Black men. The goal of Gifted is to showcase the beauty and the genius of Black men. Gifted is really founded upon the idea that we all have gifts and talents. And no matter how big or small, and when you operate in that, it's operating in your genius. My dad is the foundation for how I view men. He is consistent. He's reliable. He's always there, and he's also an emotional man, which I think is a beautiful thing. And we're very similar in that way. We're both very passionate. And so, I think that connection that I have to my dad and us being so similar is really why I have the connection that I do to Black men. When I look at my brother, I see the innocence of who he is. I see the purity of who he is. And I also think he's super, super brilliant. I mean, he has a way of words I wish I had. But he's so able to communicate the truth of who he is. And I think that's so beautiful, right? But then I watch him in school. I watched him with different people in sports, coaches, just run up against so many challenges. When he was confident and shining and in his star quality, that was too much. That was shot down. I saw the magic of him get dwindled down. And I feel that's such a shame that society has a problem with you as a young boy being who you are. And I didn't like that. So I wanted to create a body of work that really showcased the depth of these men, allowed them to talk about who they are, that showcased their humanity, to hopefully allow, to remind Black men of who they are, and then also secondarily for people to see their own humanity through these men. I think just me coming in as a woman wanting to photograph them, I think so many people were surprised, oh, you care what I actually think? It matters to you? And I think just in and of that, it just made them feel good. I came up with the 5 questions because I wanted to find a way to bring my audience into the conversations that I was having with the men when I was shooting. I shoot very conversationally. My goal is always to capture the spirit and the heart of who that person is. And so I had developed these 5 questions to really highlight those conversations that we were having, and also bring the audience and give them a little more depth about who the men are. The subject to me that stood out the most, I think there are 2. One is Nate Parker. He's an actor, director, now more entrepreneur. But he is just like, he's passionate like me. He's heartfelt like me. He does things with purpose. And so he brought all of that to his interview. And it was just extremely thoughtful and deep and insightful. And then the second person was Michael Strautmanis. He was, I believe, chief of staff to Valerie Jarrett. He works on Obama's foundation now, but he helped develop My Brother's Keeper with Obama. And his interview just had like so much meat to it. Talking about someone who's really, involved in politics, involved in how our society is shaped. And he just gave such great advice and insight into his thoughts and opinions on everything. I think the common thread through the whole book is men wanting to contribute something to their society and to their family. And what I saw through my lens is that society doesn't allow them to do that all the time. They create a lot of barriers to them being able to contribute the way that they want to contribute to their family and to the society. Black men, like, walking in their power and walking in their confidence at the end of the day is threatening to a lot of people. And that does not allow them to fully be who they are, because they have to tone that down. They have to make themselves more palatable to society, to other people, in order to get where they want to get. And I can imagine that if I was a man, I just want to be able to be all that I am and not have to shave parts of myself off in order to get what I need in life. I think it makes them more frustrated, right? Because it's like, basically society presents like, you have to come to the table like this. Don't be too much of this. Don't be too much of that. Don't be too much of this. Like, we live in a white society, and it's like they want us to fit into that box that's palatable for them, that is comfortable for them. And the reality of that is that you aren't able to, like, sometimes be as powerful as you are. You aren't able to speak freely. Your confidence sometimes is threatening to other people. It's just the reality of it. So in that sense, that's like hard, and I think that causes a frustration. And because people don't know how to just be, and they aren't accepted for how they are, you get frustrated, and sometimes you give up, or you take the smaller piece that you're offered, and you never reach the full expression of who you are. I grew up in a family that was full of love, that reinforced to hold your head high, to be who you are. And so that's my foundation. Then I go through life, school, I'm in college in an all-white environment. And for me, being in society, like, challenged that core of who I am, made me second guess myself. And so here I was having this foundation, now, walking at USC, and this, basketball player reminds me to hold my head up high. And it's almost like I was in an environment where it's like I forgot myself. Like, I forgot who I was. And that reminder was like, oh, that's right. Like, that's who I am. And to me, like, that's everything, because at the end of the day, like, deep down inside, I know who I am. It's just society and all of their opinions and thoughts and comparison and everything that lets you get disconnected from your core. And so it showed me that, like, he saw me. Like, for him to say that means that he saw who I was, and he reminded me to pull that out and to showcase that. And that was everything. And that's essentially what I'm doing in this book. I created a body of work where Black men are talking about who they are, the complexities of who they are, the beauty of who they are, and I'm just reminding them of what they already know exists inside. So question number 5 is, how do you feel Black women aiding the progression of Black men? That question is important to me because there's such a breakdown sometimes between Black men and Black women, and that stems from history and slavery and just the connection of Black men and Black women being, like, just kind of disconnected. But 2, I say, like, this is a book about celebrating Black men, but I also very intentionally created it for Black women to see that there are Black men that care about them, that value them, and that they matter to them. So for me, I had a father who was there, who showed me love, who gave me support, who encouraged me. For other women, like, that's not the case. Like, that's not their reality. But that doesn't mean that that can't be a reality. And I think that every woman wants to feel protected and supported and cared for. And so it's showing them that that exists. And it's just, planting a seed. Imagery is so powerful. Imagery and words, it's like you see, okay, this is this man who cares. It shows you, like, a whole new reality. And I think that that's something that Black women need to be reminded of. So I just had my dad write this piece, and I gave him free reign to do what he wanted. I was like, I just want you to write a piece that's from your heart. It could be whatever you want it to be. And so he writes a piece titled What It Means to Be a Black Man by Ted Milner. So to talk about the strength of a Black man, one must acknowledge the strength and beauty of a Black woman. In my opinion, the power of the Black woman is best displayed through her humility and compassion for her children. To love someone more than oneself is almost inconceivable, but for Black mothers, it's what they've done their entire lives. I am the man I am today because of my mother's love. She saw my worth and believed in me. It's my responsibility to live the life that will honor her, my God, and pass my knowledge on to my children and the next generation. As Black men, we can do very little for others if we are not strong within ourselves. We must inspire each other to trust and reach for the impossible. I believe in Black men. I believe in our strength, our fortitude, and our unity. If I had my way, I would unite as many Black men as possible to guide our youth and encourage these young adults to strive for excellence. It is imperative that Black men not only teach Black children, but also love them unconditionally. They are tomorrow's future. My self-worth as a man is what gives me strength as a husband and father. I will continue to encourage my children to love, give, and help create opportunities for others. There is no greater joy for me than to see my children accomplish their dreams. It fills me with pride to also witness their humility and compassion for all people. They are not only strong, but possess the promises that God has given them in life. I love you, Jamie. You have surpassed my every wish and dream. Your future is limitless. Thank you for Gifted, a project that honors Black men and has moved me to a place of gratitude I have never known. I am so humbled that you have chosen to honor a part of me and give the underserved Black man a voice when the world is constantly creating new ways to paralyze our thoughts. With this project, you have reminded me that my greatest accomplishment is you. I am so proud of you. Jamie, you are a gift from God, and I treasure you more than you may ever know. My hope for you is that this project will move hearts and change the world for the better. Love, Dad.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like we're super connected, and the way we care about Black people and humanity is very connected. And like, I am my father's daughter. Like, I am him and he is me. I'm working on some juicy new projects, and I can't talk about them right now. In the intro of this book, I talk about this being Gifted being the first stepping stone to creating a more empowered visual landscape for Black identity. And I think I just want to see, like, I want to create a world through my imagery that, like, showcases our confidence, our joy, our freedom, like the essence of who we are, right? And in the book, my dad says, like, the world's constantly creating new ways to paralyze our thoughts. And it's like, what does the world look like where it's not paralyzed? What does the world look like where we're able to be ourselves, like in our fullness? And that's what I'm painting through my work. And yeah, so I'm going to be getting into some more conceptual work, kind of creating that landscape for others to engage in and be a part of.